Alright, so she's on literally everybody's timeline right now, so we're going to have to talk about it. Nicola Bulley has gone missing. Welcome to Netwatch. Alright, so in today's episode we're going to talk about this mysterious case of the disappearance of Nicola Bulley from Essex, who moved to Lancashire in the 1990s, mother and dog walker. So what is known to us so far is that she took her dog for a walk down by the River Wear after taking her kids to school. She took a conference call from work, and then there's a 10-minute window between that call and her disappearance which can't be accounted for. And now Nicola Bulley is officially missing, and there's a lot of things that really do not make sense. So let's try and follow the timeline here, and we'll run with it. Bear with me.
A week ago, Nicola Bulley dropped her children off at school in the Lancashire village of St Michael's on Wyre and headed on foot along Blackpool Lane with her dog called Willow. Along this fairly busy road, she would have walked past the parish church before making her way over this footbridge which leads to the path by the River Wyre. Nicola began walking east along this path at around 8:43 a.m. Lancashire police say at 8:47 a.m. the mother of two bumped into another dog walker, seen here on CCTV in a red coat, on the lower field. Officers say the pair knew each other and their dogs interacted briefly before the woman, who they've now spoken to, left the field a short time later via the river path. 6 minutes later, at 8:53, Nicola used her phone to send her boss an email. And at 9:01 a.m, she joined a work Teams conference call. 9 minutes later, at 9:10, a second witness who also knows Nicola saw her, but this time on the upper field, and still with her dog Willow. The dog was off the lead and it wasn't in its harness, which officers say wasn't unusual and was all part of her daily routine. That was the last confirmed sighting of the 45-year-old. Police say they are particularly interested in what happened between then and 9:20 a.m. because they believe her phone was on this bench at 9:20. At 9:30, the work conference call ended, but Nicola's phone remained dialed in. Nicola's dog Willow was found by a witness at 9:33, running between this gate to the field and the bench where the phone was located. At the same time, Willow's harness was also discovered on the grass between the bench and the river's edge. Martin Brunt, Sky News.
Alright, so let's start talking about the things that don't make sense. So the police immediately are pushing the story that we need to search the river, she must be in the river, let's try and find her in the river. But there's never been any evidence to suggest a struggle, a slip, a fall, anything like that to suggest she fell in the water.
A private underwater search team has joined the effort to find Nicola Bulley, the 45-year-old mother of two who went missing 10 days ago while walking her dog. Police believe she fell into the river at St Michael's on Wyre in Lancashire. Let's get the latest on that with our correspondent Nick Garnett, who's at the scene. And Nick, just bring us up to date on the search operation at the moment.
So it's 11 days since Nicola was last seen, and today this private search company has been brought in. They're using sonar equipment, which is on board a boat and below a boat, which has been going up and down the River Wyre past me here and past the bridge. Now, on one side of the bridge, on the further side away from me, the water's very, very narrow and very shallow. On the other side of the bridge, it's slightly wider and an awful lot deeper. So that's the difficulty that they're having. They're having to try and map out, using the sonar equipment, to get an accurate picture of what lies underneath. Now, some of that's rock, some of that's rubble, some of that's mud and slurry as well. It's been very, very difficult for the underwater search teams from Lancashire Police to get an accurate picture. So this company that normally works with police forces in the south of England has been brought in to try and help and see what they can find. Speaking to the chief executive of the company earlier, he said that the police and he believes that somehow and for some reason Nicola Bulley went into the water 11 days ago and hasn't been seen since. He said to us, if that is the case, we're confident that we will find her. Now, as I say, it's 11 days since she went missing, and in those 11 days there have been underwater drones operated by Lancashire Police, there have been helicopters in the air, and over the weekend hundreds and hundreds of volunteers who came down and were handed out maps and told to go and search different sections of the river, all the way along from here in St Michael on Wyre, all the way down to where the river becomes an estuary.
Now, I'm not sure how relevant this part of the story is because it's been all over the news, but I wanted to draw attention to it. So this part about another dog of another person who has fallen in that river before. The dog stayed there, barked, created a commotion and would not leave, and basically was pointing to where he was. This dog would not leave its owner. Now, I'm not sure how relevant that is, but if that's any indication of how dogs should be reacting to owners that they love, this dog wasn't doing that. But what this dog was doing was running between the bench and the gate. The bench and the gate, which leads me to believe that I don't think she was kidnapped. I think maybe she was walked off of her own free will and the dog was just left there and couldn't get past the gate. But we'll get back to this. Alright, so the phone. Has the phone been left as a decoy? It's a possibility. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pretty sure that's maybe around the ballpark there. But the conference call is what doesn't make sense to me. If she was on a conference call, right, speaking to a bunch of different people and speaking on speakerphone, surely someone would have heard a commotion, a splash, or the dog barking. Has the audio been requested from these calls? Have the people been questioned who are on the conference call? It doesn't make sense to me that they'd still be on a conference call but not hear anything. The only thing that would make sense if she muted the phone on her end to be listening to conference call. That is a possibility, I'm not going to lie. But I just think surely you'd be able to pick up something. We know that our phones listen to us anyway, so you must have access to the audio of our phones of that call, and they must be able to pick up something. And there's another thing, has anyone actually been questioned from that conference call? Has anyone on the conference call been questioned to ask what they heard? Or anything like that? Has anyone been it just hasn't been brought up in the 2 weeks we've been doing this. That hasn't been brought up, and I don't understand why. Alright, so let's talk about the fact that the police have gone straight to the fact she might have fallen in the river. It is a possibility, but hear me out on this one please before you start going crazy, police. If she's fallen in the river from where you say she would have done, you would have seen some sort of disturbance in the foliage, prints, scrambling, anything. And there's absolutely nothing. The dog wasn't creating a commotion and the water seems undisturbed. For her to fall in where she fell in, if what to be believed is correct, it's not even that deep, and she probably could have just stood up. She probably could have stood up, and because she's known as a strong swimmer, she could have jumped up and swam herself to the edge. The drowning in the river scenario doesn't add up, and I'm wondering why the police are leaning so heavy into that part. And why there's such an emphasis on this river flow wouldn't have pushed her out. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. So why couldn't the current have pushed her out in that 2 weeks? We all noticed recently that the weather patterns have totally changed, right? So what's to say that this river hasn't been flowing unnaturally and flowing more than what records would usually show? This guy who claims he's an expert for all those years, yes, you may know over the 25 years what you've seen, but there's weather patterns and weather changes now that aren't making sense, that are totally different to how things were before. So how are we supposed to believe there isn't a strong current that could have pushed her out to sea a long time ago? You know? Okay, so I do need to draw attention to this because I also agree that this is a bit out of order. I understand that people want to help and want to try and find Nicola as soon as possible. I applaud you and I respect you for wanting to be involved in that manner. But going onto someone's private property is not your responsibility, especially when it's already been reported by friends and family and the police themselves that they have searched the properties that you claim need to be searched. It's already been done. Going up to someone's house and just taking random clips and putting spooky music on it and trying to twist it for TikTok views is not cool during this time. Apparently the police are going to pursue these accusations. I mean, I don't really see the police doing that. The police are asking people not to speculate. I've never known the police not to ask the public to speculate as much as they are, which I find quite confusing, but we're going to come back to this as well. Yeah, going onto someone's property like that is not okay, and making random TikTok clips and making it look a certain way isn't okay just to push your profile, make yourself look like a bit of a TikTok detective. I understand if you want to help, but I also believe you're just kind of doing that for views, and like a lot of the stuff that you're bringing up really can just be quickly debunked. Like, so it's not really worth bringing it up or talking to these guys, but there has been a dispersal order for these people who keep turning up and trying to do their own investigations. Listen, vigilantism is all good, but we live in an era where we can't just be doing, we do have to still trust the police. I understand it's hard to trust the police right now. That's another part of this video as well. It's hard to trust the police. I get that. There's a lot going on racially, politically. There's a lot of things going on that are messed up by the police, that we obviously can't trust the police right now. None of us can. That's a fact right now. We live in an era where we cannot trust any member of the police force. Even though there are some good ones, and there are people that are trying to do their job, and there are police officers that are there to just make everyone obey the law and keep everyone peaceful and living happy. That's what they're for. But there obviously are, as in anything, corrupt people that just take it too far, ruin it for everybody, and put a dark name on a corporation that are meant for good, and the fact that the media are so corrupt nowadays that they'll back anything the police do, it doesn't help. The media are meant to police the police. That's kind of what the media are for. We're meant to police the politicians, the police, everything. We're meant to be like the watchdog for the public, to make sure that everyone knows and is aware of what's going on in the world. And all you really get to find out truth-wise is through TikTokers these days. But a lot of TikTokers are taking advantage of this and just trying to grow their channels for posting nonsense. What I'm saying is, I understand that you want to help, but you can't just go on someone's private land and start looking around and start tearing up stuff just because you've seen a few movies where people do that kind of thing. You've been watching too much true crime. You can't be going to do stuff like that. This isn't America where you can get away with stuff like that. You will go to jail for doing that stuff like that. Personally, I'll give you my advice: don't do that. I was making a point about the phone. Why is it we're focusing so much on the river and she's falling in the water idea? Why are we not looking at the phone? Why are we not talking about a kidnap option? Why are we not talking about a possible abduction, a murder case? Why is it simply a tragic accident right away when you haven't even found a body yet? When you haven't even found any sort of indication that she's fallen into the water? Something very fishy is going on. And this is where we now need to talk about, is there a possibility of a police cover-up during this thing? I'm going to bring it from two angles. One, we have a serial killer on the loose. So it has been illegal now for quite some time that the media are not allowed to report on serial killers because it will panic the public. I totally get that, but we need to discuss this option, so I'm going to talk about it and see what happens. And if they shoot and kill me, I didn't do it to myself, okay? Will W from Street Heat TV UK, recaps, blogs and reviews. Will the Influencer did not kill himself on the back of this video, okay? Thank you very much. Is there a cover-up? I'm not going to lie to you, it's a real possibility, because the fact that they're going straight in with a tragic accident idea when you have absolutely no evidence to even suggest that she's fallen into the water is weird and very suspect. And I want to know why that was the immediate story when you had no indication of this. The dog running between the bench and the gate, like he wanted to get out of the gate. I bet you that dog, if you'd opened the gate then, would have sprinted off and taken you to where you're meant to go. It is quite funny that we've been asking for CCTV for 2 weeks, and only now are we getting some images of Nicola putting the dog in the car and heading out. There's way more CCTV that we could be shown. What are we not being shown, and why are we not being shown it? I understand, right, that the public needs to be protected, and we don't want to panic the public, and we don't want to be speculating and causing people to go out there in drones and looking for people and going crazy, that sort of stuff, right? But if the information isn't being given to us and the questions are not being answered, we're going to be curious and we're going to ask questions. We're in a day and age now where we have social media and we can just talk to each other and connect with each other and give each other theories. Right now you have TikTokers that are just doing it for views, but you also have very concerned people that are putting 2 and 2 together and looking into this stuff. Check out this TikTok video that I found by this wonderful lady. I think she's put the nail right on the head here, and we need to look in this direction.
So there's another missing person that was last seen on December 10th. He's 28 years old, he's called Daniel Hives. He has a young son, and so he's been missing over a month now. And his possessions were found, his phone, his hat and his headphones, found by the canal. We've done underwater searches and there is no sign of him. So that point down at the bottom is where Peter's belongings were found, and that one up at the top is where Nicola was last seen. So, I mean, it's less than an hour, it's 49 minutes drive. Seems like a bit of a coincidence. And then I find this. Lone woman chased along Barrowford Canal path by man who tried to stop and grab her in broad daylight. This happened on January 7th, so not that long ago. So she was jogging in broad daylight and a man chased her down the canal path and tried to grab her. Luckily, there was a member of the public that was there to help her. They haven't found the guy that did it. It just all seems a little bit coincidental. That's 40 miles from where Nicola vanished. What I don't understand, and seems really weird, is that there are all these missing people. Have you ever heard of the other ones? Peter Baglin and Daniel Hives? And the woman that was chased down the canal by a random person? Why is the Nicola Bulley story getting so much media attention?
Why are the police so desperate to keep our attention on the water? Look at the water. Everybody look at us, we're looking in the water. And why are the media really pushing that? Why are we not telling what's really going on, that this woman may have been kidnapped? What's really going on with that? I mean, I do understand the whole protect the public, don't panic the public thing with the media, right? But if there is someone or a group of people out there doing this and the police know about it, why are we not being told for our safety? We should be told. It shouldn't be a case of keep it quiet from the public, we'll go after them and hope we find them. No, you need to tell us so we know not to go down there. It's not safe down there. Put it out. Put it out. If there's a serial killer out there, we should be told in the media about it, because really you're putting us more at risk. Are you not putting at risk? Yeah, you might panic the public, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Panic the public. Maybe if during 9/11 and you panic the public, these people wouldn't have gone to work and lost their lives, innit? How about that? Why are we not getting CCTV of her route on the way there and apparent places she would have been seen? Why are we not being shown that? What is being hidden from us? If the police don't want us to think there's a cover-up going on, don't make it look like that there is a cover-up going on. So the point is, it a decoy? It's a very big possibility, but I don't understand why it's been connected to a conference call and then just left to be a decoy. And there's only really one theory behind that, and this is where things get a little bit weird, and you may think I'm crazy, but madder things have happened, right? What if Nicola Bulley has done a runner? What if she's disappeared on her own free will? What if she just undone the dog? She knew how to lease and cruise, because every motherfucker is watching true crime these days, so they know how to leave a trail, and she's just done a bunk and she's gone. I'm not saying this is true, because if she has passed away, then wow, and my sincere condolences and rest in peace and all of that. People do not just vanish. It doesn't happen. Let me say that again for you. People do not just vanish. I mean, what's my thoughts on the decoy? I mean, it's a very real possibility, and it feels like we're being drawn to that area with the dog and the phone and the possibility she dropped in the river. We feel like we're being drawn to that. As you can tell, this whole case is baffling, and I don't really know where to go with it, apart from I'm just going to keep everybody updated as much as I can and follow the case as close as I can and try and pick out some clues and try and bring it to you. Before we sign off, we need to look at one last possibility, and I don't like thinking like this because it's kind of messed up, but we need to look at the partner. So, according to some stuff that I found online, the partner's business has been going under. The caravan park where the CCTV conveniently doesn't work, where you'd have possibly seen her disappear, is owned by the partner. That's trippy enough on its own. I'm sure the police are looking into this kind of thing. They just want to keep it quiet that it's a possible murder inquiry. People keep comparing this guy to Ian Huntley and saying that a lot of people would have come out and spoke against him and there's been nothing. Again, that means nothing. They might have lived quite a quiet life. I mean, he may not be that big a social person. He may not know that many people. He's not a teacher or a groundskeeper like this guy was before. He knew a lot of people's parents. That's why Ian Huntley was so interactive with so many people. These guys seem quite quiet and kept to themselves in a quite quiet area. So yeah, I'm not convinced that that's really an angle with the Ian Huntley thing. All we can do for now is speculate and wait. But what I will say about the whole thing is, like, don't go investigating too much into yourselves. By all means, follow leads and look into it from your homes, from your phones, and do your own sort of research and come to your own conclusions. Don't go to people's properties. Don't be looking around searching places that you do not have the right to go and look at, because you're just going to get hurt, or you're going to cause disturbances to someone's property that you're going to get sued for it. Potentially you could harm somebody else who's living in there and you don't even realize what you're doing, because there could be a homeless person in there. And if potentially the body is in one of these places, you are contaminating a crime scene. So for the love of God, stop being a vigilante for your TikTok, for the views. Stop trying to be a superhero. Sit down, let the police do their job, and wait. Stop trying to be the superhero online, because it's just cringe, makes you look stupid, and you are interfering and contaminating evidence. But the police need to have cordoned off, which they should have done already. We need to talk about that too. The fact that the police have not cordoned off this area, they have allowed the public to keep walking through and keep contaminating evidence. That's weird, and that also needs to be discussed. If the police don't want us to think there's a cover-up, please stop giving us reasons to think that there is a cover-up. That's pretty much all I can say for now, and I'll update you as soon as we get any more on this Nicola Bulley situation. My name's Will the Influencer, this has been Netwatch, and I'm out.